Good.
Good?
And
We're just going to wait for people?
no, we'll get started. So everybody that clicks on this, like right away after this thing goes live, then they'll see exactly everything we're talking about right now. So they'll be like, well, we just waited for something.
Okay.
You know, so we're like live right now.
Okay.
So it's an early stream. It's a Saturday. So we're going to get, various folks in today. Our whole point today for anybody watching this is going to be a true non-rehearsed, like we didn't rehearse this.
No.
Like cradle to grave crypto mining guide. So we have different machines we can use in the back, and I want to take everybody through. So if you're not familiar with cryptocurrency, this is totally the video for you. If you're not familiar with mining with cryptocurrency, this is the video for you. If you are familiar, this is going to be kind of repetitive for folks that are familiar in the space, but I'm trying to make sure that we identify things that normally would come up in one of my streams. So my 13-year-old daughter's here. She's actually doing a fundraise for a project that she's doing with BSA. She's going for Eagle Scout, and we'll talk about that later in the stream. But we were thinking about, I always have a schedule to do streams and do different things, and we're thinking let's try to mash the two together. That way she could learn about cryptocurrency, because believe it or not, even being my daughter, she plays games and does other stuff, and it's like, I don't know, Dad works on computer stuff. So we're going to go through and teach you the basics of what everything is, how to download a wallet, how to configure the miner, be able to mine and then pay you out. We're going to cover everything. So I wanted to make sure that it was a good, detailed want where, you can figure it out as you're going through.
Yeah.
If you have questions, the audience definitely will, want to hear from that.
Yeah.
So like if you're just like, dude, I don't know what's going on here. Like, what's going on? So just ask the questions and we'll. So what we're going to do today that we can take to the bathroom, and we're going to grab a machine. We're going to set up a wallet, all that kind of stuff. So usually the first thing you do, and if people find our video or they're trying to learn more about cryptocurrency, the first thing they try to figure out is like, how do I receive cryptocurrency? Like, that's the first question. Like, cool, I want to build a mining rig, but where's the money go? And then how do I take the currency if I want to go spend it somewhere and all that kind of stuff? Yeah. So people wonder, like, how much are they going to earn and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to try to cover all that kind of stuff so you have an understanding of what particular GPU, because you have a GPU in your gaming computer at home. Yeah. What that will earn over a period of time. So the first thing we'll probably do is grab the other laptop, because I know that it doesn't have a cryptocurrency wallet on it, and we'll download the wallet and get that set up. And then that gives us the destination of where the mining rig is going to mine to. So that's where we're going to point it to, and then it shows up on that wallet. And we'll use the whiteboard today to kind of explain things work. Okay. That way you have a visual understanding of what's going on. Yeah. So hopefully this is going to be a good one for you guys. Hopefully you guys can hear us and hear her. We're using new mics for this. We're not using the boom mics here because we're going to be moving around a lot. We do have a mobile camera set up here that we can walk to the back room with you guys. It says the mic keeps disconnecting. Is anybody else having any kind of sound issues? We'll check and see if they do. This microphone is set up to where we can see it. Your microphone should be fine. Yeah. I mean, it looks like it's, maybe it's whenever you're speaking, you just need to speak clearly. Louder, maybe? Yeah, probably. But we'll see if people are having issues. We'll address that as we go. We might need to also do batteries. I've used this a few times now, and the battery might be going out on us. But looks like it's, well, it should show pretty good. Just see what happens. Yeah, see what happens. People can let us know. So we're hearing you through her mic. Right, yeah, CIC number 4 here. A1, A2.
It switches between the two mics.
Oh, that's right, because they're probably trying to fight over the same channel. They reset when I now it won't. Now they both should be on. When I reset this with the latest batteries, it pivoted to where this is A2, that's A1, and they both were on A1, so they were bouncing back and forth.
I see.
There we go. We should be good now. Okay, so thanks for letting us know. It's one of those things when you're working with different pieces of hardware, sometimes things can get messed up. So let's talk real quick about what we're going to do. We'll whiteboard it out, and then we'll share the whiteboard with everybody here this way. That way they don't have to see us just, oop, I didn't mean to move that. Let's switch over to the smart board, and let's go through the basic concept of what's going on today.
Okay.
So we're going to have a laptop. Okay. So this is the laptop. And on that laptop, we are going to download Exodus, right?
Yeah.
Exodus is a crypto wallet that's on. So it just various cryptocurrencies are out here. You have like Bitcoin. You have like Ethereum. You have like Ethereum Classic, ETC. These are things that we're going to be able to mine. Ravencoin. Okay, these are just different cryptocurrencies that are out there. Yeah. Now, cryptocurrencies are networks, right? So this is just a network. Just means things are connected. Okay, and this is its own thing. Bitcoin's its own thing. Ethereum's its own thing, right? Yeah. Ethereum Classic is its own thing. Long story. It used to be Ethereum, then it kind of is the original Ethereum, and Ethereum had to try to fix something, so people kept this one going, and then Ethereum kept going. So now there's two.
They're separate.
Then you had Ravencoin, which was originally a copy of Bitcoin, and then they did some things too. So there's different purposes of what these things do.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the incentive, you have the network itself, you have an incentive. You have the network, let's just call this the network. And then you have the thing that's holding up the network, which essentially is the miner. There's two things. There's nodes. And think of a node like a card catalog in a library. Okay. So it's like all the data for what happens on that network is in a node. It's the ledger is what they call it. So a ledger is like a bank ledger where it has the debits and the credits.
Yeah.
So in school, you're learning debits and credits. But this is all the information. So you have nodes, and then you have miners. Miners that are running software to make sure that everything is good there. They're confirming the transactions, and they are what makes sure that this network can't get changed. Okay? So if you have more than 51% of all the mining power in the world on a particular network, you technically can issue out a new version of this. So you would have ability to make changes or influence the network in a negative way.
Is there anyone that can or no?
No. So right now it's distributed enough to where, and there's not enough, any one person that has enough of the hardware that we're going to like build here to have more than 51% of anybody else. Right. So the miners are a very critical piece of this whole thing working. Right. It's what's holding up the security. So all you need to really take away from this is the miners are the security of the network. Right. And they make sure that these nodes and stuff have the correct information on the right network. Okay. Yeah. The network piece is the chain. You'll hear the blockchain. Okay.
Yeah.
So the network, I should be using the real terms here. So blockchain here is what that is. The incentive is the coin. So it's like, hey, I come up with this really cool idea. I can hold this distributed network, and it can be decentralized. Anybody can come join it and leave and go and all that. But what, why would I want to do that? Why would I want to buy hardware? Why would I want to do any of that kind of stuff, right? So the first kind of app that came on this was the Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin says, well, if you do this action, we'll reward you with this token. Well, back in the day, that token was, not really worth anything. It was just like, oh, cool, you get this cool token for participating.
Yeah.
Well, that token now is worth quite a bit of money. So Bitcoin's worth like $40,000 today per coin.
Yeah.
Ethereum is sitting around $3,000 per coin. So this is the reason why we mine, is we get an incentive, to hold up these networks. Okay. So that's the whole point of it, right? For at least the miner to do these actions, right? There's also other reasons, like if you're building on top of this network, you want the most secure network. So you may be a miner and a builder, and you're like, I'm going to contribute to this because I don't want it to. I want to help make it stronger. So that's part of the other reason for this whole thing. And what I'm talking about is called proof of work. So we have to do something. It's like having, workout equipment sitting at the house, and you go put the work in, and that makes you stronger, right?
Yeah.
There's another function that they're working on called proof of stake. That is, instead of you using pieces of hardware, you will you buy the token, you buy the coin up front, and then you hold on to it and say, I'm not going to sell this. I'm going to hold this, and I'm proving that I have. It's like buying the exercise equipment just to say you have it. And then, there's questions right now if that's a better way than proof of work. Right now, it doesn't, there's just questions. We don't know. We don't know if it's going to be a better way. There's advantages where it doesn't use all the power. You don't have to have all these facilities.
Yeah.
But like most things in life, like, there isn't an easy way to do, you have to put in the work, right? So we're still trying to figure out if this is a good, does it break this or beat this? Don't know yet, but we do know and have confidence that proof of work does work, and it's worked for a long time. Bitcoin came out with its network in 2009, and it's been going since. And you were born in 2008, so like a year later, this thing was made. So this network's been running as long as you've been running around the earth. So these are the incentives. So these use ASICs, which is that big loud thing that I have in the back room.
Yeah.
The thing that's making all the noise. Those are application specific integrated circuits. So it's something that's just designed to do it. And all that stuff just means that it does it a lot faster than like a graphics card, like what we use for our computers. Ethereum uses still GPUs, and it does have some ASICs, and they compete with each other right now. And there's you can still mine with GPUs and make money with them. So, and then this is GPU, and then this is GPU still too. And there's other networks, and they have different features, right? Yeah. But what we're going to do today, the reason I wanted to give you this kind of background is you got to understand what we're doing, like what the network is. Like, why would you plug this thing in, and what's the incentive? Why is there, what's the point of this? And people build different things on these networks. They build different apps, and they have, for like Bitcoin, they use it as a layer 2 called layer 2 just makes things a little faster. Okay. And it's a way for you to transact with people across the world really quick. And then you have other information that you can store in there and use it kind of like a co-location, to where you don't have to, like, when you upload stuff to a cloud or to your school, any of that, this is just like another network you could do it to, right? Okay. So then, and this doesn't go down, and it's always online, unlike, your school stuff might go down. Right. So there's incentives for people to use it without even having to work on, like, putting computers on it or anything,
Yeah.
right? Like doing mining. So that's part of the reason for the network, the why, right? So if you're like, cool story, we make money because we plug into the thing, but do people actually use it or not is another reason. So that's kind of the background on crypto. Laptop that we're going to grab here in a minute.
Yeah.
We're going to get a crypto wallet, which creates essentially connections to these networks and then issues out a wallet ID. So like it's using something called public key cryptography. Now, don't worry, we're not going to deep dive in this at 13. But bottom line, there's a public address, which is what you send things to, right?
Yeah.
It's a long, like for Ethereum, it's like OX and then a whole bunch of numbers and letters. And then there's a private key, which we try to keep private, right? It's like having an address think of this like your home address. Mm-hmm. And then this is, inside your home, and you have a lock to get inside your home, right? So this is like the door into it. You don't want people in there, right? You want to protect this, right?
Yeah.
So private key gives access to those funds, right? So these things are tied to your various funds, right? For your crypto. So this is the key into that. So this is what Exodus does is it has a whole bunch of these wallets right here in it. And they have a whole bunch of, it has a seed key that lets you create a whole bunch of different addresses for these tokens. So for us to be able to mine, we need to download a wallet, and then we'll create and generate a public private key, right? Mm-hmm. So we will only put this in the miner to let it know when we're mining, go to that address. That's how we're paid out. Okay. When we get into the mining, we'll switch back to this, and I'll explain how the mining piece works. It's not going to be relevant right now, but right now we're going to do this crypto wallet. Okay.
Yep.
So let's switch back to these guys. And let's see how, hopefully this has been good for you guys. We've been kind of off camera there and explaining that, and hopefully the whiteboard's working well for you guys. So let's grab the laptop that's over there. I'll let you go do that. We'll take this one down because I was using this for something else earlier. And then let that go down. RIP headphone users. And then we'll hook up the laptop, and then we'll download Exodus. I'll walk you through that. I'll let you do that. So let's switch this over. We'll just take everybody through the whole thing. This is like a whole family event here. We'll switch over to this so you guys can see. Well, you don't have to be necessarily on me, but let's go over here. Let's grab the other laptop. And then we're going to get this set up and configured. All right. And then let's pivot back over to main. We're using Samantha's laptop, or her old laptop. And then let's get this part plugged in so these guys can see. We're going to go through the whole thing. So my point of this video, and if anybody can't stick around for it, we're going to do a recap of this whole video. This was supposed to be a complete cradle to grave. Like you haven't done this before?
No.
And we're going to go through every aspect of cradle to grave. So you guys can use this to send it to somebody that's not super familiar with cryptocurrency, and then they could understand aspects of it, or even participate by downloading a miner and, trying it out.
Yeah.
So let's go over and switch to the laptop view. Let's see, make sure, there it is. Okay. So let's go ahead and I'll let you drive. So you can go to just Edge or any Explorer, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. And then type in Exodus.
I spell it.
O-D-U-S. And just Google it. And just hit enter, or Bing it in this case. So that first one's fine. So this is the crypto wallet, and this can go onto your laptop, or you could also get a mobile version of this on your cell phone. So go to download.
So they're sensitive.
Mm-hmm. And then you're going to do the desktop version. So download, there you go.
And then
You're going to do, no, it's not the Mac. That's a PC. So download, yep, Windows. It's going to download it really quick, hopefully. And then once that's down, that's actually going a lot slower than it should, but it's okay for our fiber connection here.
So, like, why would you want a wallet? To make all this money? Or, like...
Well, it's got to go somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. So if you have a machine,
yeah,
and you're connecting to the network, where does it go?
Into the wallet. So that's why you need the wallet. Okay.
Correct. You got to have an address.
Yeah.
Think of the miner activity that we're about to do, like going to work, right? It's proof of work. The machine is doing the work. Uh-huh. So the wallet is where it gets paid at. Okay. So like if you went to work, you're going to get paid. And it would go to your bank account typically. Mm-hmm. But this is the miner is going to go do the work for you. And then you're the
file.
Yes. Can it do it? There it is. Oh, that happens sometimes. So that's sometimes if you open it, double click it like twice. Try to just go into, there it is. Yeah. So it was just going, it's just you double clicked it a few times and the laptop was still trying to figure out life. That's funny. Trying to figure out how to take it up. See all those different instances you clicked were trying to go up. So
right there?
I don't think that was it. That was my Asus. Oh. So let's go down here and just make sure that it's not trying to run 100 times. Okay, it looks like it's there. It loaded. And then we're going to open this up. Now there's a couple aspects of the wallet. When there's no money in the wallet, it's not too concerned about you trying to back it up. But okay, yeah. So that's the wallet now. And this is going to give you a couple things here. So it's trying to make sure, if you make your first deposit, that's great. And then if you want to restore it, it's going to give you that seed key. So let's quickly talk about that because it's an important point. If you're downloading cryptocurrency or, if you're getting cryptocurrency, if you buy it or if you're mining it and then it goes to a wallet, you want to secure it. And then you want an ability to be able to get it. Like, let's say something happened to this laptop and you're like, oh man, all my crypto was on that laptop. Your crypto is actually not on this laptop. What it is you got to think of the wallets like a window to the network. Okay. So it's actually not here. Just your access to it is on here. So the cool thing about it is this whole public private thing I was just talking about. Yeah. Public key, private key thing. Your laptop, it just is a window when you have this app to the network. So, and you have a private key to access it. Okay. What this little thing on the laptop is saying is this 12 words. It takes this very complicated private key, which is just lots of alphanumeric, which is both letters, upper, lowercase, numbers, and it converts it into 12 words. Okay. It says it uses an algorithm to say, here's this long string, which is just a big character. And it says, nobody's going to remember that. People are going to mess that up. Let's create 12 words that if I take those 12 words and I run them through a program, it will give me that long string. It's in programming. You've done programming. Yeah. Right. So this is converting it to a string. Okay. So one of the big key things you need to do, and a lot of people I don't call it lazy. It's just one of those things like anything, like you're like, oh, cool. I just want to get to it. I want to get moving. And they don't back up their wallet. So one of the most important things you can do is you want to do a backup of your wallet. So when you go to do that, it's going to ask you to restart the laptop here. So we're going to go back to the laptop. We clicked on back up the thing, hit restart on it. It's going to come back. It's going to generate because it's going to say, you want to get access to this. That's if we were restoring. Sorry. that was restoring from a backup. So we actually threw it into this wasn't the backup. This was saying, this was me trying to open up Exodus, like as if I was trying to restore it from 12 words.
Okay.
That wasn't trying to back up. It was just saying, hey, I have a backup of my 12 words. Please load my wallet. So that's what that little action that I was just doing was showing you. If you had 12 words and you had a new laptop, you could restore your access to the thing. So here, see, it says quickly restore access to your wallet in the 12 secret words. So this has a backup option, but it usually typically doesn't fire it until you actually have money in it. Because it's just like, why am I backing you up if you have no money?
Yeah.
Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of skip that part right now until we get some capital into it. And maybe we can do that quickly by earning some crypto. So this is the wallet, and what we're going to do is we'll come back to this when it's time to set up. So we'll click on wallets here, and then we'll set up like a Ravencoin wallet. So when we click on this, that's the Ravencoin, and then our receive address, that's the public key. You know, it's like the address to the house.
Yeah.
It's the public key for the miner that we're about to get going here. And we'll have the same thing for Ethereum. We'll have the same thing for Ethereum Classic. They'll have their own unique ID. Okay. So that's what's relevant. So we got the wallet downloaded. Let's switch back over. And I'll show you when you use that when we're ready. So that's all it was. That was pretty easy.
Yeah.
Just download a piece of software, connect it to a wallet, and then you can actually sync this wallet with your phone. Like you can download Exodus on your phone.
And I can like check it.
You could check it like when you're just like at school and the miners are on, you're like, bro, I'm making money, right? Like show your friends, like, well, don't show your friends. Actually keep it quiet.
Be like, I'm making money, but I'm not gonna tell you how much I'm making.
There it is. That's how you do it. So there's this thing called OPSEC where it's like operational security. So it's just making sure not too many people, even though we're on the internet, a whole bunch of people explaining how to do it. It's okay. This is how you learn, right? But then in your particular situation at home, when you're doing it, you got to watch your operational security. But you got to learn it from somewhere, and that's what we're doing for you guys. So let's get a miner and get it set up, and we're going to download the operating system and all that kind of stuff to show you how that functions. So we're going to just temporarily just shut this down. We'll unplug this, just leave it off the side because we'll put the miner on the desk and we'll get that set up for you guys. So just leave that here. We'll switch over to that and then we'll take you guys in the back. Hopefully you guys can hear us when we get back there in the back. All right, we're mobile. And then let's move over this way. And then we're going to go pick a machine out. And then we'll need a couple things. We'll need a USB. And this is what we're going to put on the machine. This is how it's going to know to go do the things that we're going to tell it to do.
Okay.
So we're going to have to set this up. We're going to do that in a minute. And then we're going to grab a mining machine here. You can come out.
Thank you.
And there's a lot that we've cleaned up and we're going to choose from. But I wanted to get one of these up and running today. I don't think that we have anything in this one yet. Nope. This one's built, but it's nothing done with it. So we're going to slide this one over to the side. Hopefully it's not too loud for people or you guys can still hear us.
Hopefully.
And we're going to take this one and we're going to get a screwdriver so we can get that off.
You want to go grab one?
There's...
Which one do you need?
That.
This?
Perfect. I just saw one of the screws pop off here. Oh, we'll grab it. All right. So we're going to take this box. This is in a gray matter case. And I believe these have 6,700 XTs in it. So we're going to take this rig and get it going. We're going to set this on the table. And then we can look inside of it here in a second. Let's grab this laptop and make sure we don't lose that. Here we go.
Down there.
Awesome. And then we'll keep this over here. Let's put the laptop away for right now if we don't knock that off the table. Hopefully this is pretty good, but we'll get inside this machine real quick and I'll explain. If you want to hit, just drop the table a few.
Yeah. Good? Tell me when to stop.
There's fine. Okay. I just wanted to make sure you could get into there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this lid off because this is hiding the GPUs behind it. Mm-hmm. So these were just kind of barely on holding it. And then, oh, yes. So this is a freshly built 6700 XT rig. These are I believe they're the Asus Mech. I think they're Asus's. Radeon 6700s. And most of it's pretty good. I think we built it, but we just haven't done anything with it. So this has 6 different GPUs, and these are pretty decent graphics cards right now. And then this has a 1,000-watt power supply. So this provides power for the whole unit. And then these are the riser cards that connect the graphics card to the motherboard. So let's start to get.
Does Bitcoin also do GPU and ASIC? Or just ASIC? Just
ASIC. That's a great question. And yeah, so Bitcoin used to do GPU. I actually mined. That's my old stuff back in the day. And then you were like a toddler and I was carrying you around. That was, here, we can switch this over to here so we can drop from that. So this, when I was mining originally, like literally, I think you were like 3 years old, like 2 years old, 3 years old. Yeah. So that's how old I am. But yeah, I was mining Bitcoin with graphics cards. That's how I found out about Bitcoin. Actually, the day that graphics cards could start to be used, that's how I found it. Is like people were talking about graphics cards because I used to do something called SETI at Home and Folding at Home. SETI at Home is search for extraterrestrial life using computers. It's pretty cool. It's like there's telescope data out there and they need lots of processing power to find like alien life, if it exists or not. And I used to do that, and that sounds weird. But there was a post that said, hey, there's this thing called Bitcoin. You earn these tokens if you can mine with your GPUs. And I had GPUs. So that's how I found it. And then years later, make a channel and show everybody on the internet how to do it. Yeah. So this machine was designed for this kind of task. So back in the day, they didn't have machines like this. You had to build them. They were in like milk cartons, literally the cartons. We would do stuff, and then we figured out how to build a new design. So this is more purpose built because the fans try to push the airflow, and you've known from the stuff that we've had at the house, it gets warm. Yeah. So this helps with that. So it's designed to allow air to flow over it and get rid of the heat. And they don't make too many of these cases anymore. There's other versions of this that are like newer. This is kind of an older case, but it works the same way. So motherboard, just like you have in your gaming computer. Yeah. Here, we can switch back to this and we can show as we're talking to folks. Did we find any aliens? No, we have not found any aliens, unfortunately.
Not yet.
Not yet. I like optimism. So there's a motherboard just like you have like in your gaming computer. Yeah. There's a processor. There's memory. Mm-hmm. And then there's these little cables that take you over to get the data from the actual miner. Mm-hmm. they use normal parts just like a gaming computer. This is why gamers do not like crypto miners usually, because we take the hardware sometimes. But what this video is to show is that maybe you can do some gaming and do some mining too. So you could do it with a gaming computer. There's not much more to it besides it just uses a little bit of power and it creates a little bit of heat. And then sometimes they're a little loud depending on the type of fans you have. So you know that part. Let's open. I mean, you have a basic understanding what the way the computer works, right?
Yeah.
What a processor. So the motherboard itself, think of the motherboard. We're going to go back to the library explanation. Okay. Yeah. So think of a motherboard kind of like the structure of a library. The chip, the main chip, the Intel or the AMD chip that's in it, the main processor is like the librarian. It goes and does all the tasks, right? The RAM, you know, you've heard of RAM. Yeah. So RAM is like the table space in the library. If you have a hard drive in here, which we're going to use the memory stick for our hard drive, is like the shelf space. And then the books are the programs, right? So if you have a fast librarian, it can go grab books off a shelf and open it up on the open table space. And the more RAM you have, the more things you can have open, more table space you can have, more books open. The graphics card is just like this extra thing that helps the graphics happen faster. Okay. But the computer is really the thing doing all this, you know, the running the operating system, the thing that we're about to load. Operating system is like Windows. That's what we use for our computers. This is going to use a Linux OS, which is just different. It's just a different, not all the graphic stuff. And that is because we want to take the least amount of problems that can occur on the miner, right? Because the idea of this is that you get it working and then you just step away from it and it runs and it just does its thing, right? GPU mining, sometimes you have to handle a lot more, like things happen, like the graphics card gets too hot or the operating system has to reboot, you know, just like your Windows computer when you go to play a game and it's like you must update drivers and you have to reboot it. The Linux OS strips all that stuff down to make it super simple, right? So it's just saying, I don't need all this other stuff. I just want to give me everything that makes it the leanest way to do something, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to probably use simple mining on this because it's pretty easy. We'll pull the laptop back over here to put that on there. So this is going to be the shelf space in the library, and then we're going to get to do that. And then when this is configuring on the laptop, we'll switch back to the whiteboard and I'll explain the mining process to you. All right, let's go over and grab the laptop.
I'll grab it.
And we can just set it on top of this, and then we'll plug it back in so you guys can see us downloading and configuring this. I'm reading through some of the comments. The contact, they're still talking about aliens. All right, so you get logged back in, and then we'll plug this in. All right. It's on the other side, and we can set this up here on top of this.
Okay. Scoot it back, like there.
Yeah, perfect. This laptop just fits without falling into the machine. And this one?
Yep. You might have to. Oh, okay.
Yep.
Works.
Okay, now let's switch over to this laptop screen so you guys can see it. Let's plug this in. So this should be empty. Shouldn't be anything on that. Let's make sure, yep, it came up. There's nothing on it. So we're going to download Simple Mining. So if we go over back to here, we're going to go, actually, first off, we need to make an email address real quick. So let's just go to Gmail and make a temporary email to mine to.
Okay.
So we're going to go new tab. We're going to log out because I don't know who this is. And out. That was one of our workers here. That's Cole's email. All right. And then we're going to create a new one for myself. And this is going to be Cool Joe Miner. the laptop.
Yay.
And now we're to where we can go to the simple mining. So we don't want the simple mining calculator. We just want to go to simplemining.net, and then we're going to download. Now these are the 6700. So there's various operating systems here, and what they're telling you here is what GPUs that the operating system's set up for. Okay. So we are on the AMD side at the 6700. So it's this one here. Mm-hmm. So if we click this,
would my computer be that one? The other one?
Yeah, your computer at home has a 3070 in it, so it's there. We're going to download this. That's more like it with the fiber. Okay. That's why I was laughing earlier that other one took so long. This one downloaded
in a second,
like a few seconds, because we have 200. We have the dual fiber set up, so we have like almost 2,000 megabit per second, which is fast. All right, so that's downloaded. So that's the file. That's the operating system file. Mm-hmm. And then there is a piece of software that you can get on Simple Mining site. So we go back here and hit back a couple times. Simple Mining. They use this a piece of software to actually download this, which is the Bell Etcher. So Balena Etcher is the program. I already have that on here. I think they Belarus. Fake news. Maybe I don't. So we're going to download this real quick. Yep, it's been on here, but we're going to let it download. So once this downloads, this lets us take that OS file and write it to this USB drive. That's the whole point of this piece of software here. It's under downloads. Here we go. So that's installing that version of that. You know how to install things really easy. You just let it take the defaults on that install. And then once that's on there, we can then write that data on there. So this is what comes up. We want to flash from file, and we're going to point to this Simple Mining build, right? So that's the image file. And we're going to hit open. So it's 5 gig. We're going to select the target. That is this USB drive that we just plugged in. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to hit next, and then we're going to hit flash. Now, this takes a few minutes. It'll tell us how long it'll take here in a second to take that image and then write it to this disk, because it expands it out. And it says it's going to take about 4 minutes or so. So in that time, we're going to switch back over to the smart board, and we're going to explain what's going on here. So let's take this and just move, not that. Let's move this whole thing down. Mm-hmm. Move our little logo up here. There we go. And then here's what's going on with your mining. Okay. Mm-hmm. So let's say you have a mining rig, right? This is going to be a rudimentary bad drawing of a mining rig. You have your cards in here, and you have your motherboard, And they plug in here, and you have a box here. There's a power supply, and that plugs into those things. Okay, there's your mining rig. That mining rig plugs into your internet, right? Your home internet.
Yep.
Home internet plugs into the actual internet itself. Internet. That's a terrible way of spelling internet. Okay. And there are a few aspects to things here. So we are downloading a simple mining. .net, which is our OS, right? This and then we have the laptop over here, right? Let's just call this the laptop, which has our wallet on it, right?
Okay.
So this is going to ask for the simple mining is going to ask for a few things. It's going to ask what network, essentially. This is called blockchain. What blockchain? What address are you going to mine to for that blockchain? Right?
Yeah.
And then a GPU config. Right? Now that address is wrapped into what pool also. And a pool on the internet, let's say we're going to do Ethereum, okay? So Ethereum network, this is the blockchain, chain of blocks, okay? Is the network, and then there's say Ethermine is a pool. Well, that's just a service, okay? And that service is running a node of Ethereum's network, right?
Yeah.
Node. And the whole point of it is to try to get a whole bunch of miners around the world. Miner bro, right? And we're one of these people too, right? To send our hash rate to this pool that we'll use to win blocks into this chain, okay? So we're all competing on the same exact math problem, same exact time, okay? So an Ethermine standpoint, every 15 seconds, it's trying to get a block, add it to the Ethereum network, right? And people around the internet, DApp, DeFi, apps, okay? ETH, apps, right? You got a whole bunch of apps that are built onto these networks, right? You got this execution layer, which is that whole thing, right? There's the network, right? This is the network. There's blocks in that network. Those blocks handle information, right? The mining upholds it and says, yep, that block is good. Okay. We agree that block is good. Let's get a new block, right? They win blocks. They take information from this execution layer. Okay, this is, I know, down in the weeds, but I'm trying to make sure that you understand on the basis of what's going on here. People
like a block that's like, nope, that block's not good. Or is it
always... for sure. There's people that try to like say, I'm going to make my own block and I'm going to try to cheat and get that money. Right. And then it's broadcasted to this node, and that node's like, oh, bro, that ain't right. Right. And then it says, no, that block is not good. So you have an attack vector to try to like challenge it or break it. The whole point of the consensus of what we're doing is to help provide this is the right chain that you're on, and whatever somebody else is coming in and trying to add, a chain below here and say, no, bro, I got blocks too. And my blocks are right. The network goes, wait a minute. And this guy goes, like, I don't think so. And says, this is the bad version. This didn't have the work that was in there. Or it might have valid work, but it just doesn't have the longest work. It doesn't have the longest chain, right? So these nodes are looking for the one that's producing the longest chain. Okay. So a competition, because all of us are working, all these miners here, over here, we're getting work. Okay, let's go back over here to where Ethermine sends us some work. Let's just call it work. And what that work is the consensus work is like a number line. You know, in school you have a number line?
Yeah.
Right? You have a line and there's like dots on it.
Yep.
Okay. So essentially what this problem is like a big math problem on a number line. And in there somewhere, one of these points, let's use a red pen for this. This is the winning answer. Okay. So what Ethermine is doing is Ethermine is saying, yo, bro, you got 6 cool cards. Awesome. Well, that's going to be able to do this much work in this current problem. And mind you, this problem only lasts 15 seconds on Ethereum's network. On Ravencoin, it's same kind of thing. It's 1 minute. Okay. Okay. So you get a little more time for the work. So your one machine's doing this tiny problem and it's submitting the work back to here and saying, I did the work, pay me. So the way that Ethermine goes is saying it runs like a numerator and denominator, right? Ethermine has a list of a whole bunch of miners working on this stuff at the same time and says, okay, collective bros in the world, I've sent a whole bunch of work out and you guys have, you have 25 of 2 million.
Gosh.
Shares that went out in that 15 seconds, right? Yeah. So you get the 25 divided by 2 million. You get that proportion, which might be 0.0002 for your effort, right? Of Ethereum. So that's the whole point. That's how it shares it. So because not everybody's going to win. The Ethermine is hoping they find that, right? Yeah. But maybe that block, they didn't find it. Okay, well, everybody's still got to keep calculations of all that effort. And this numerator keeps going up as you're mining, and this denominator for the whole pool keeps going up until they find a block. Okay, so eventually, the work that this machine's working finds the answer and submits it to the network over here and says, hey, yo, bros, we found it. We are going to be the next new block. Right? Mm-hmm. And what it is there's 2 things that are happening here. I know this is a lot, but it's okay. You can always go back and review. So there's 2 things that are happening here. One, you found a block. You have enough information to create a block. Now, cool story. What's the block? Intel. A block is like a train car. And it's empty. So the Ethermine goes, well, I am going to take all of this work that's going on out here, plus all of the transactions of people sending, Ethereum back and forth to each other. Mm-hmm. I'm using Ethereum. This same thing, everything I'm saying right now applies to Bitcoin too. So I'm going to take a bucket of transactions, and that train car is only so big, right? Yeah. This train car can only fit so much information on that particular block, right? So what it's going to do is it's going to say, who is paying me the most for each of these things. So it's going to have, this is called the memory pool. So in here is mem pool. So all this action stuff that's going on right now is sitting in this like big bucket of things. It's like people trying to get onto a train and everybody holding a ticket going, I'm paying more than the other guy, right? So then this block gets filled up. And then the winner, be it in this use case that I'm talking about right here, where somebody won that block, maybe this miner here, right? One of these graphics cards here was like, I found it, right? And then sent it back over and said, hey, or it sends it over to Ethermine and goes, bro, I got it. And Ethermine says, I agree, you got it. So let's go over here and make a block and let's see who's paying the highest. And it'll take a sub list. So mind you, there might be millions of transactions in there, but it's going to take the top of the list
and it's going to go, cool, we're going to use that block. So the reward for all us doing all this information, right, on Ethereum right now is 2 coins, 2 ETH per block. Okay. Plus what's remaining in the transaction. We used to get all the transaction cost. Like, so this might be 2.3 by itself, and then this would equal 4.3. But Ethereum thought, maybe we'll just burn all that extra money, because then that means less money's in people's pockets, and then it'll make the money that's still there worth more money.
Yeah.
I mean, in theory, it may, but it really hasn't kind of worked out that way right away. Maybe in the future it will, but every time they've done that, it's kind of went down in price. But one of the things that they're doing is, so they're burning what they call the base fee here. So now you get 2.02, and you just make a little extra tip there at the end. So this is what we get every 15 seconds to the whole network. So Ethermine, if they won that block down here, right, would get this, and then it has to go figure out, like, who helped me do the work, which is right here. And let's say we're that numerator here by that denominator, right? So we're going to get whatever the output of this is divided by our portion of work that we did, right? Yeah. So that's how you're getting these little incremental amounts. Okay. I know it's a lot, but it's one of those things that, since it's a video, people can go back and re-look at it.
Yeah.
Hopefully that helps explain what's going on. This looks like a mess, but that's part of the fun with the whiteboard.
So the more miners you have, the more chances you have to get a block.
Yes, you got it.
Okay.
You got it. So the more, absolutely. And the more that you're getting, the more that you earn on versus everybody else in the pool. So you get a higher portion. So this, the more you have here, you might be actually now getting 1, 2, right? And then you get more, and then you might be earning 0.1, right?
Yeah.
And like that's the same way with Bitcoin. It's like the big Bitcoin mine that we're building right now. The containers, right? Those are going to have 360 ASICs per those big those machines that are a little loud. The 360 of those per box, right? So that's just more contributing to the network, right? So, but it does 2 things. One, it does earn you more capital, but it also makes this network here more secure, right? And the case for more GPUs makes Ethereum more secure. The case for more ASICs on Bitcoin makes Bitcoin more secure. Same thing with Litecoin, which has, Litecoin has its own thing. Ethereum Classic, same thing. So we're now at this stage right now. We are setting up simple mining, and what we're going to do is load this, and we're going to go and put in what blockchain are we going to do. I'll show you that, which we'll choose that by choosing a pool. We'll put the address that we have in Exodus that we just did, right? Which we'll include that with what pool to, and then we'll configure these GPUs to run optimally. And when we go to configure, we're looking at a couple things. We're looking at on a GPU, you have a core, you have memory, right? And then you have essentially how much power is it drawing, which are those cables that plug here, and then from the PCIe here, this is power, right? So what we want to do is lower the core here, the how much juice it's using, increase the memory speed, and then we want to lower the power that's being done here. So ideally, the core, memory, and power, we're going to go up on this, and we're going to lower this. And then this make a change on this particular GPU to where it would be usually using 130 watts. We're going to try to drive that down to like 80 watts or less. So it's just less power.
Yeah.
Because all of this here, what I just said, was fine and dandy, but this machine running here costs money to operate, right?
Yeah.
And we pay cents per kilowatt, right? about 4.5 cents is what we're going to be getting on the new setup, with some other caveats. I mean, all in costs will probably be around 5.2, but that's per kilowatt, and the more of this we use, the more cost we're going to have, right?
Yeah.
And then I'll show you how we figure all that kind of stuff out. So again, more fun here. Hopefully this has been good for folks, and they're still tracking here. All right, so let's wake this thing back up and go to sleep. They die on us.
Oh. I'm to sleep.
Okay. Okay, so now this is all done. We're going to switch back over to the laptop. And we're going to go. So it was coming up because Windows doesn't understand that this is Linux. So it's like, hey, I think something's wrong with this. Please format it. Just cancel past all that. And then this config file that comes up is the thing that we're looking for. So this is a text file that's on that drive that's just saying, where do you want me to go? And the thing that we're looking at right here is this user email right here is what we're going to change. So we're going to go in here and we're going to change this to what was it?
Not so cool Joe.
Yeah, not so cool Joe 2008 at gmail.com. Okay, because we just made that temporary email address, and we're going to save this. And we're going to close this. So now this is fully done. This USB stick is completely done. What we need to do, though, is we need to go back to simple mining. And then we need to do create a new login. So up here in the gear, probably need to log out of the existing one we're on. And then log in, register. We're going to do not so cool Joe 2008. And then we have to choose, what was it, seaplanes.
Seaplanes.
There.
That one?
There.
And yeah.
Verify.
Yeah.
I got it. Oh. Okay. But that, I think. Oh.
You're cheating.
Just make another strong password. Sure. Now, so that sends an activation link to our email. And it does. Now we're registered. Now we got to reCAPTCHA again with seaplanes. They're really original here.
Oh.
And then we're in. We're going to first set up. It's asking for an Ethereum wallet address. So we're going to do ETH. Receive. Save all options. And then we're going to hit add rig, which this just flags the dashboard to look for that USB when we plug it in. Mm-hmm. It just says, hey, we're adding a new machine for the next 12 hours. Okay. And that way it's just somebody can't try to use up all your credits and do that. So now the next setup that we need to do is we need to get in there and do like a group config. And we're going to use we're going to find, so on these configurations, the pool, when we were just talking about, all have to do with, what support are we, which pool are we going to use, and then what network, the blockchain that we're going to use. So we'll set up one for Ethereum, or we'll set up one for, on these cards, we'll do Ethereum Classic, and Ravencoin. Okay. So what we'll do here is it pre-configures some things here for you, or T-Rex, Red Team Miner, LOL Miner. So you can actually go in there, and these are the latest versions, but you can go in here and edit these default ones. And this pre-sets up stuff for like Ethermine. So we are in the US, so we don't want EU. We'll go in here and hit US. But I'm going to show you where you can go here. So like Ethermine, if we go over to Ethermine over here, Ethermine, and then if you go to Ethermine here, under start mining, it shows you kind of like if you're in Asia, Europe, US East, so which we're here. We're going to go over this one. So this is the destination address. And then the other thing that matters is the port that you're using. Okay. Mm-hmm. So SSL is secure socket layer. It's just like an encryption. So we can use the 555. So we're going to go in here. That part there. We're going to go back into here. We're going to go into group config. We're going to edit the Team Red Miner. We're going to go in here. And then just use the US one, which we saw that 555 is that. And then we're going to go into here and grab our ETH address. Okay. And we got to put our ETH wallet here where it says the -U is the user. After this $sign, we're going to put it here. So it was configuring the $sign thing that we just did earlier. We're just going to paste over that and paste our Ethereum address. So this is how it knows for us to get it. And then this period here right after it is the rig name. So we're going to name this one this 6x6700 XT. Okay. So that's it. So there's this setup here is like a little dashboard, and it's just, let's go through the top to explain the setup here. Group name, Team Red Miner. So what we'd do is we'd just rename this one to Team Red Miner Ethereum. Ethermine. I like putting where is it going, right? So this one's going to Ethermine, and this is set up for Ethereum. Okay. And then we're going to save that. And then this one we can set as default right over here with this little flag right here. So we're going to set this to whenever a machine comes up, it's going to run this immediately. Okay. So we'll go and do, once we get the machine running, I'll show you Ravencoin too as an example. Ethereum Classic uses the same thing as Ethereum. It's just we'll make one little change here to do Ethereum Classic. That's the one part that I missed here for you. So ETH hash is telling us what algorithm to use and what network. So ETH hash is Ethereum. ETC would be ETC. Okay.
I have to blow my nose.
All right. Well, do that with turning your mic off so you don't blow people out. So we are now set up with this USB stick, and we have the miner set up as default to start mining Ethereum right away. Okay. So we're going to go back to the rig list. You turn back on?
Yep.
Okay.
Back on.
And we'll switch over to the main. And we are going to just set this off to the side for right now. We'll unplug this because we're going to plug it into the machine itself. And we're going to unplug that. We'll leave this over to the side. And then this is going to get plugged into the machine itself. Okay. Couple things for this. We're going to need a single plug that we can grab in the back for this to give it power. And then we need a network cable, which is right over there that we'll plug in to this. And so it's network, the operating system, the video, just because we're going to watch it, and power. So let's go grab a power cable.
You want to do that?
Yep, you can get that going. I'll let you. You have to hit the double click the.
This?
Nope.
This.
Yep.
Yep.
And then you can go and unlock that,
Okay.
and we'll get this set up here.
No way.
The Son of Tech was on nice. You good? Up and running?
Not yet.
Okay.
Okay. It's connecting. We're good now.
All right, there we go. So we're going to go grab a power cable now, and then power cables everywhere, but we're going to find one somewhere here. I got one plugged around here somewhere. Here we go. Grab this one.
Good.
And then we're going to grab, we have the network cable over here. I got to get the rest of the studio set up so I don't have to rob Peter to pay Paul. But we're going to grab network here. And then
Plugging it in. Ah.
Yeah, here you go. So I grab this. We'll just throw this down for right now. And then we'll plug that in. And then this plugs into the back of this for the power. And then this we're going to plug into the power meter. So then they'll be able to see how much power it's drawing.
Yep. Good?
Yes. Son of Tech. He says, likes the new studio at $10. My man. I got to catch one of your live streams. We've been so busy getting this stuff set up. It's just been crazy. I got to get you up here sometime, man. We'll figure out a time, son, when we're doing probably the Bitcoin loadout in one of the containers. We'll see if we can coordinate some schedules. And if you want to come up for that, you can hawk some S19s into a box and be around there for that. So, all right. So let's get this thing booted up. So that's fine there. We'll leave that here for we can switch between the two. And then we're going to, So this thing's lit up. You can see the lights on it here. And then we're going to turn this thing on. It's alive. I don't hear any fans grinding. We should be able to feel the air because the airflow is pulling in from the front and blowing through the rig behind us. So we're going to feel the heat from this thing. And then you can hear the fans kicking in. Let's switch over to here. So no keyboard detected. So this is the machine itself. So this should start to pull up. Okay. So this is probably, let's grab that keyboard right there and we'll plug it into here. I still need you to come on the morning show one day. I will do that. We just need to coordinate that with Samantha and get the time scheduled. It has been nuts with the studio build. Let's get this in. So we're going to do one quick check on this box, and we got to make sure setting is configured in this motherboard BIOS. The one thing I'll say, if you're ever building a mining rig, is you got to make sure the BIOS is set up for it when it comes to 4G decoding. So we're doing the F7 in here, and we're coming over, and all we're making sure is under boot. Boot looks okay here. We're going to go under advanced system malicious.
Miscellaneous?
Yes, that's the word that I was trying to find. This one here, and we're just going down and we're making sure things are set up right. Where that's all disabled, that's fine. System agent configuration. This is one of the most important things that need to be set up on a machine, on a motherboard. If you have multiple GPUs on it, is this 4G decoding. Bottom line, if you had like 6 GPUs plugged in and you turn on your rig and it's all black screen and it won't come on, there's a high chance that is disabled, and the motherboard literally cannot operate with that many GPUs plugged in without that turned on. So I always tell people that if you're plugging a machine on and it's not turning on and it's not like coming up on the screen, drop it to like 1 GPU and then get into your BIOS and make sure that that's enabled. So that's a key one there. Then the max link speeds are set to Gen 1. That's just kind of a best practice. It doesn't need to be. It will work if they're set. It's just sometimes the motherboard doesn't know how to handle that single little card. You know, like when you plug in a graphics card, it's like a much larger slot. Yeah. Well, we're plugging in these 1x slots here. So we only need that link speed to be 1x. It doesn't need to be any more than that. And what happens is some motherboards, they'll set to like auto and they get confused and then they use up all the extra memory space because they're like, no, that's a 16x slot. So it's trying to push all of it, or it's setting it to 4x and you end up running out of space. So we're making sure all that's set up and configured right. And then the boot, we want to make sure that it's actually seeing this USB stick. So the boot configuration is set up, and we want to make sure it's all legacy and UEFI, which just makes it to be able to find this USB stick. So we're going to plug it in over here, make sure the USB stick's popping in and working, and then we're going to save and exit. So now, with it going straight to the BIOS like this, I don't think it saw the USB stick. I think I plugged it in too late. So we're going to let it come back up now and make sure that it sees this USB stick, because this has the operating system on it. So it's going straight back there again. So this is not, for whatever reason, seeing this new fresh build. Let's plug the USB stick into the laptop real quick. Yeah, you have to move the keyboard. And just make sure it sees the drive accessible. So it is seeing that. Let's make sure it's saved that. It does. Okay. So this USB stick is functional. It's just not. We're going to try to manually set this thing to boot. F7. Configuration. Other OS is good. We want to do both. Legacy's fine. And then we're going to save and do it again. But this time I'm going to try to just tell it to go to that USB stick first and make sure that it sees it. I can see it in here. So I can go in here and hit this to go. It didn't do it again. Not seeing that stick. Make sure the boys didn't disable that. Legacy is good. This is a USB 3.0 stick. This is some of the fun that we have to deal with, making sure that it sees. And I mean, this is I bought these off of Amazon. These are 2.0s. They might be not seeing this. I'm going to plug it into this 2.0 slot. So these 3.1 slots on this are not finding this USB stick.
For specific slots, for specific
USB. Well, yeah, some USBs have different. There are different like configuration. Like some are 3.0, some are 3.1, some are 2.0. And when we ordered these ones from Amazon, we didn't realize they were 2.0. So I'm plugging it in a 2.0 slot. There we go. That's what it was. So on these ones, when the boys ordered these ones, they were 2.0. So it works in the 2.0 slot. So this is going to be a little slower OS, but it's just Amazon flipping it. When you look for USB 3.0 and then it serves you up a USB 2.0 because they're just trying to save you. So this is the machine booting up right now. And it finds a local IP. So that's what that 192.168.1.147 is. That's coming from our local router. And now it's going and updating this particular USB stick with all the updates. And then what's going to do is we're going to see it pop up on this dashboard. See, we just saw it pop up on the dashboard right now.
Yeah.
So now it's going to start trying to mine. So we want to hit this little green button here. Actually, I want to show both things. Hold on. Let's. I don't have it set up to where I can do all 5 different inputs. We're going to let this start going. And what I'm going to do is before we configure it, I'm going to switch back to the laptop so that everybody can see us configure it. Let me
Can you go back?
Yeah, it'll be under this show settings, but we're gonna come in here and change a few things here and make sure we can set some settings up for this. And it's so it's starting to mine with just the basic out of the box. We haven't changed any kind of config yet to set these clocks up. So we're going to click over here. So these things out of the box only using that core and that memory settings that I was talking about. I'm going to show you what we're meaning here. So it's trying to auto tune these things. Let's switch back over to the this input over to the laptop. So everybody can see this other side of it. Okay, so this is what we're seeing right now on the other screen. So it's actually missing a GPU. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So one of these GPUs aren't actually running. So we'll figure that part out a little bit. Again, we just pulled this from back stock, and I'll have to take a look at what the boys built. And if I don't know if they've tested this machine. So we do have one GPU that we'd want to fix. We probably won't fix it on this live stream, but what we care about here is you see how this is using, all of them are using about 150. Let's switch over real quick and see on the main screen what this thing's showing from the
What is it?
From the power. So right now, without configuring anything, this thing is using 1,070 watts, which we want to change because this is only a 1,000-watt platinum power supply. So we're actually overrating, which we don't want to do.
Yeah.
So we want to go in there and configure this. So we're going to go back over to the configuration and we're going to make some changes here and drop some power here. So let's go back to the laptop. And right now it's getting about 43.3 mega hash each. So this is about 216 total mega hash on each card. And they're using 150 as far as that's concerned per thing. And there's only 5 of them in here. Actually, there's 6 in this machine, but we'll fix that in a little bit. So what we're going to do on this one is we're going to drop that core down quite a bit. So we're going to take this down 2,000. We're going to take the memory down up to 1115. And we're going to try a 750 core voltage initially. So let's take this down and save this. And what that's going to do is it's going to come over here and it's going to, we can see the same screen that other machine had right here where it says start mining. So this one's saying 115 is too high, it looks like.
Can you go back up?
No, we can go back to it in a second here. Some of these might not let it go 115. It might have to be 1100. Let's try that. Let's try 1100. So we're going to reconfigure it. So what we're looking here is not red. I had some other 6700s that could do 1115. So those ones, we'll see if it looks like it's taking it. And then what we're going to look at now with having the power and the core reduced, it should significantly drop that power usage. Let's see where we're at right now. Main. So we're down to 600. See that difference? Yeah. It went down quite a bit. So we're going to see what the cards go to. But we took it from, this is a key piece that I think gets missed a lot on, like just folks that just find videos and don't really configure them. They just like, oh, I got it working. I'm not going to mess with anything.
Yeah.
You're actually using a lot more power. And it looks like that was not liking that. So we had a crash there. So sometimes they want a little more power. Or they want a little more memory, or that memory's too intense. So we'll have to probably play around with it. But let's try 50. Let's try 2100. Let's keep the 750. That poor power supply, says Richard Porter. Well, I'd say 600 is fine. Well within it. Specification. Let's go back to where this thing is. That's the crash. Let's go back to the machine and see what the machine's saying it's doing. And sometimes, like if it's booted like that, it won't. Like if it reboots and I plug in the screen like this, it won't actually bring up that screen. So we see that it's back online here on the laptop. So I was trying to catch it to see if it was not rebooting or not, which it did. So let's go back to here so we can see settings here. So
you want to only mine. You don't want to game and mine at the same time because you'll use a lot of power.
Yeah, you don't really want to game and mine at the same time. The only way you'd want to do that is if you had like another GPU in your computer. Like if we put an extra GPU in there and then you could mine on that GPU while you're playing. But the problem is you're really going to put a lot of stress on your power supply. So it's really like you either game or you mine. Right.
In the morning or whenever I want to game, I can game. But like whenever I'm off my computer, I can mine.
Correct.
Okay.
You gonna set that up when you get home?
I don't know, maybe.
So you get that free power from Dad? A free power cost?
Yup.
Yeah, the power limit, I think I was bringing it down a little much. It's rebooting again. I haven't played with the 6700s in a while. I need to go back in and just test where we're at. And we also have another issue with this because we have one GPU down. So this was just kind of, this is like its own video of troubleshooting this rig, and that might be a good breakaway for this because this, I need to make sure the settings are right on this for it to mine. And the basic idea was that core, that memory, and the power limit to make sure what's most optimal for your particular setup. So a lot of people on the internet, like Son of Texan here and a couple other folks, are showing, their experience with it. And then what they've done with these particular cards. And we all kind of work off of each other's efforts, right? Like they work on it and try to figure out and say, hey, I got that same GPU and I spent hours on it. And here's what works best for me. So it's that research that you do on the internet. You look up what graphics card you have and you're like, I wonder if anybody's ever done this on this. And it kind of saves you that step. That's kind of what we all do with contributing to our experiences on this and why I do a lot of videos and stuff. And I show people, well, here's my experience on it. This is what we consider observing and reporting, right? So we observe what we've done and then we're reporting it to everybody like, hey, here's how it looks like it's running. So it looks like, it doesn't like those settings either. So we'll save this one for how to fix a rig for another one if you want to do that. Because we've been rolling for a little bit and I want to pivot over to allowing you a little bit of time real quick to share kind of why you're dressed up as your scout stuff right now. And kind of what we were doing here, guys, not only just to have a video with you guys, but today, Bree, my daughter, actually is going for her Eagle Scout. And with that, you have a project that you have to raise capital for, and it has to be a community thing. It's not just something I can just go and just pay, right? Like it's an effort that she has to put time into and understand that aspect of capital raising for a particular good effort type of thing. So I'm going to give her a few seconds to kind of explain what's going on. And then for that capital raise, and then how for you guys to be able to do that. If you guys are so gracious to if super chats, all that stuff's going to this today. So this whole stream is for that.
Pull it up on the screen.
You can go for it. If you can reach it.
Where's that right there?
There you go. And then we'll let you kind of do your piece here. So she built this on the smart board.
Okay. So as he said, I'm doing my Eagle project, and my Scout Eagle project is a flag retirement box. And I'm doing this because people might have flags in the garage that are tattered and torn, or local police stations and stuff might have these flags. And what this box is for is maybe they don't have the time to make a fire and properly retire these flags. So they can use the box to respectfully retire their flags without making a fire. And what we'll do with the flags is we can go to scout camps or Cub Scout camps and have these big retirements and show the Cubs how it's properly done to retire these flags. So I'm doing this at a local memorial site so that so the box can still be in its right spot and still be honored. And yeah, so
I think you've got most of it. You said why, the where. It's installed on April 30th. And then Richard Porter, like a boss, coming in there with $100 Canadian, helping the Canadians, helping U.S. flag retirement. So this is it's mainly around for U.S. flags, right? Like
yes.
U.S. based flags.
U.S. or like police flags, any kind of flags.
Okay. Yeah. So it's paid respects for that. We do appreciate that, Richard. That will go for this effort. So she's raising $2,030. It's the next couple weeks. She's got a couple other things. It's not just this YouTube thing, but it's just really to teach that effort of, you know, how to raise capital for a particular thing, and also get your Eagle Scout. I mean, you've been working hard to get your Eagle Scout. So this is part of this also training and try to help people understand like the crypto side. We have crypto addresses below, and there is a Gmail, I believe, in there for PayPal stuff too. So you guys are bosses. We'll have a couple other videos that'll roll in the pre-roll to kind of help her get there this next couple of weeks, and we'll keep an eye on that. So it's you know, it's a noble cause, and it's your Eagle Scout. So I'll give you a few seconds to let you go and do that. So that's awesome.
And we can go back.
I can go back and back to my scribble.
Yes, that's small.
Scribble design here. So yeah, hopefully this was a quick one for you guys. I mean, a quick almost hour and 40 minutes walkthrough on the kind of setting up a wallet, some background on this disaster of like how things function and work. We'll get better at this aspect of using the board, and hopefully, I don't know if my writing I get better, but maybe we'll have some other people that can actually translate this into like my chicken scratch can come into something better. But hopefully this helps. You guys can send this around to people that are trying to understand what you guys are doing from a mining aspect, and gives you some understanding on the base core of what's going on with everything. And then we'll save this fun box. I'm actually glad that it didn't fully work, because then it gives us something to kind of work to fix, and then you can understand the mining aspect of fixing things and trying to identify problems and get them working, and then we can work through a config video on you playing with the core and the memory and the core voltage, and understand on how you can set that, because that's important to drop down. You know, we don't want to use more power than we need, right? You want to try to reduce your power usage. It keeps your ops costs down and stuff. So hopefully this has been a good one for you guys, and we're going to wrap this one up at an hour and 40 minutes. I will do a couple recaps for you guys on this. So if you missed a lot of it, we'll cut out kind of the in-between stuff, and then we'll have a quicker you know, maybe 20-minute video or less of this down to the little bits and pieces. So you may see that come through. Again, it's a Saturday, and